Inspiring millionaire discovers heartwarming clone of ex-wife in touching serendipity revealed. Jason Caldwell stood in the gleaming community center of Maplewood, Missouri, surrounded by laughter and the sweet smells of pie baking in the oven. Yet, despite the lively charity event aimed at providing after-school programs for local kids, an indelible weight pressed down on him. The room buzzed with energy and warmth, but to Jason, everything felt muted and distant. He had built a legendary career as a self-made millionaire, earning accolades and gratitude from the very community that now vibrated with life around him, yet since the fateful day Sarah had left this world, his heart felt hollow. He caught sight of the children laughing as they chased one another, their smiles reflecting the innocence he had cherished with Sarah. No matter how much he donated to the charities, no amount of success could fill the void left by the woman who breathed light into his life. Just then, his gaze landed on Lily. It was a fleeting glance, but it pulled at his heartstrings. She looked remarkably like Sarah, a wisp of nostalgia washing over him, stirring both happiness and pain. In the midst of this chaotic camaraderie, Jason fought an internal battle. Here was someone who reminded him of the love he had lost. Was it wrong to be drawn to her? As he learned more about Lily, the story unfolded like a miracle wrapped in mystery. She was a product of genetic research, constructed from DNA meant to inspire a new understanding of humanity. Now, that complicated things even more. Would loving her be an act of betrayal to Sarah's memory? As whispers spread through the crowd, reactions were mixed. Some saw Lily as an intriguing marvel, while others eyed her with apprehension. Is she real? Someone muttered, the judgment implicit in their tone. Jason fought to curb his growing frustration. How could he rationalize his feelings to a community that held such deep-seated biases? He directed his focus back to Lily, whose bright eyes sparkled with curiosity about the world around her. In that moment, Jason felt the stirring of something he hadn't allowed himself to feel since Sarah's passing: hope. But mixed with that hope was fear. Could he really open his heart again? As thoughts raced through his mind, the laughter of the children echoed, reminding him of the family life he had lost. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Jason approached Lily, a mix of excitement and trepidation flooded his chest. She smiled warmly, and in that instant, he saw not just the reflection of Sarah, but a chance at something new, something he could hardly navigate. Deep down, he felt the laboring weight of a question: what would it mean to love again when the past still clung to him like a shadow? Would he find the courage to risk his heart for this living echo of his lost love? With hesitation, he took a step forward, eager to embrace whatever this unexpected twist of fate had in store, unaware that a transformation for his community and himself was just beginning. Jason felt the warmth of the room envelop him as he moved closer to Lily. She had that same infectious spirit that Sarah once had. Each laugh, every excited glimmer in her eye, felt like a beckoning call to the future, a future he hesitated to grasp. His hands slightly trembled as he contemplated the conversations that lay ahead. "Hi, I'm Jason," he said, his voice softer than intended. The moment the words left his lips, he realized how much he craved connection again, even amidst the shadows of memory. "Hi, Jason. I'm Lily," she replied, her enthusiasm infectious. Jason was taken aback by how genuine her smile was. It felt so familiar yet impossibly new at the same time. "Are you one of the sponsors for this event?" He nodded, forcing a smile, though it felt both genuine and strained. "Just trying to help the kids out. I believe every child deserves a chance to pursue their dreams." "Me too." She grinned, sending new waves of warmth through him. "These programs mean a lot to me. They help me find out what I love." A spark of commonality ignited between them. As they talked, Jason could feel the weight on his heart start to lift just a little. The way she spoke about her passions and dreams reminded him of the vibrant discussions he once had with Sarah. It was refreshing and strangely comforting to share momentary laughter with someone who resonated with his loss. Suddenly, Jason was supported by the gentle push of courage. "What do you love?" he asked, genuinely curious. "I love creating," Lily replied, her voice brightening with each word. "I paint and draw. It helps me express what I feel. I guess it's how I connect with the world." Being an artist in a small town had been a challenge for her. With each story she shared, Jason marveled at her resilient spirit. It fueled something in him, an urge to protect that budding light, one he thought he lost forever when Sarah passed. But as quickly as his hope ignited, doubt slithered back into his mind. Was this right? Could he allow himself to feel this way about someone who was created from the very essence of his past? The murmurs of the crowd echoed around him again. Before he could establish a way through his tangled thoughts, the mood shifted. Jason noticed a few attendees whispering, shooting disapproving glances toward Lily. The judgment stung like a slap, igniting defensive instincts within him. "Everything okay?" Lily asked, concern knitting her brow. "Yeah, I don't like people gossiping," he managed to say, though his tone conveyed more than mere annoyance. "It's fine," she replied, brushing it off with an easy laugh. "I'm used to it." In that moment, he witnessed something resilient in her attitude. It struck him, she wasn't merely a creation, she was genuine, vibrant, and full of life. But what would the community think? Could he shield her from their scrutiny the way he once shielded Sarah from the chaos of the world outside? Lost in thought, Jason barely noticed when Lily excitedly pointed out a group of children painting at a nearby table. "Look! They made such a colorful mural." Joy surged through him, filling the hollow spaces with a flicker of hope. With every laugh, every sincere word exchanged with Lily, Jason realized he was moving dangerously close to the edge of a new beginning. But just as he felt himself leaning in, doubt gripped his heart again. A question loomed large: was he ready to risk opening old wounds for the chance at new love? With each second that passed, the stakes felt higher. Lily turned to him, her gaze steady and curious. "What are you thinking, Jason?" The air felt thick with unspoken words. It was now or never. But before he could answer, a loud crash disrupted the moment. An easel tipped over, sending paints and brushes flying. His heart raced as he glanced at Lily, who was already rushing to help the children. Sacrificing doubt for action, he followed her without a second thought, aware that everything around them had shifted. Life was full of surprises, and the unexpected challenges were only beginning. Would he take a leap toward hope when the answer still eluded him? Would love weave its way back into his heart, or would the looming fear drag him down once more? Jason's pulse quickened as he acutely sensed the chaos around him. The sight of paint splattered everywhere and children squealing in surprise sent him tumbling into action alongside Lily. She moved gracefully among the confusion, her hands steady as she crouched down to help one of the smaller kids who looked near tears. "It's okay, sweetie," she reassured the young girl, her voice soothing against the backdrop of clanging noise. "We can fix this." Jason squatted beside her, adrenaline pulsing through him. He picked up a fallen paint jar and looked at the girl. "You know what? Art is like life. Sometimes it gets messy, but that's what makes it special." He grinned, and her frown softened into a timid smile, the hint of trust flickering in her eyes. Together, they collected the brushes and paints, the atmosphere shifting from chaos to creativity. With Lily's laughter and Jason's encouragement, the little artist began to giggle again. There was something beautiful about the way Lily patched up the moment, her presence a balm to those around her. As they worked, layers of doubt peeled away from Jason's heart. He saw shadows of Sarah dancing in Lily's spirited posture and vibrant laughter, but rather than cause pain, it ignited a fire of hope. "See, it's already coming together," Lily said, her hands now smudged with every color imaginable as she knelt beside Jason. They exchanged a fleeting smile, and for a moment, it felt like they were the only two people in that energetic room. He searched her eyes, the doubt wrestling with yearning once again. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, a voice behind him cut through the warmth. "Look at that, playing the hero already." It was Tom, a local businessman known for his sharp tongue. Jason's stomach twisted at the sarcasm dripping from Tom's words. With a grin that didn't reach his eyes, Tom continued, "Bet you're just trying to win over Lily just like old times, eh?" Jason felt a rush of protectiveness surge through him, threatening to spill over. His heart raced, but before he could respond, Lily straightened up, her head tilting lightly in Tom's direction. "Actually, I think we're focused on helping kids more than anything." Her voice was steady, grounding Jason amid turbulence. Tom scoffed but didn't push further, leaving a faint, uncomfortable silence in his wake. Jason glanced at Lily, who brushed off the comment as easily as paint on a canvas. It mattered how she reacted. That she didn't cower under the judgment or uncomfortable stares. A spark of admiration ignited fresh within him, but the shadows loomed once more. He wondered if her resilience would hold against more than mere whispers. Could he provide protection, or would he merely bring her into the very storm he had endured? The doubt crept back in, heavy and familiar, casting a pall over what could be been an exhilarating moment. With the mess cleaned up and the children once again brightly engaged in their art, Jason turned to Lily. "You're amazing with them. I wasn't sure how to handle all of this." She laughed softly, brushing her paint-stained fingers through her hair. "You did great. You did exactly what they needed." Jason met her gaze, a mix of hope and fear flickering between them. "Do you want to talk a bit more?" I'd love to hear more about your art." Before she could reply, the atmosphere shifted again. A child shrieked joyously, and Jason turned just in time to see him whirl around with a paintbrush, flinging color across the floor towards them. The dreamlike moment shattered into chaos anew, laughter blending with shrieking. Maybe paint battles aren't such a good idea. Jason chuckled nervously, but deep down, he felt alive. Each flick of color was a step away from the sorrow that had cocooned him. It was exhilarating yet terrifying. As the children continued their spirited chaos, Jason's thoughts swirled. With every shared smile, the possibility of a shared future flickered at the edge of his heart. But would he dare to explore the depths of connection? Could love rise anew from the threads of his past, or were they better? Left frayed, suddenly, a thought emerged: what would happen if he risked his already bruised heart? Would he face the memories, or steer clear of the potential havoc they might wreak? Each decision could twist their paths, and he needed to choose wisely before darkness crept back in, and as the colorful frenzy burst forth around them, Jason hesitated, facing a heartwarming yet terrifying crossroads. The crowd cheered, but one small voice echoed in his mind: what if this time, the journey was worth taking? Amid the swirling colors and laughter, Jason's heart danced between excitement and fear. He watched the children paint with wild, uninhibited joy, their carefree spirits igniting a flicker of hope within him. Yet, lurking beneath that hope was the constant pulse of uncertainty, whispering doubts in his mind. "Jason! Look!" Lily's exclamation cut through his reverie. He turned just in time to see her holding up a canvas with a rainbow of colors, splashes perfect in their imperfection. This is what art is all about. Free expression. Her excitement was infectious. Gathering his resolve, Jason stepped closer. "You're really talented, you know. I can't remember the last time I saw someone create like that." Her cheeks flushed with a soft blush, and her eyes sparkled under the fluorescent lights of the community center. "Thank you. It's all about letting go of what you think it should look like and just creating." For a moment, the world around them faded. Her enthusiasm, her unwavering spirit, began chipping away at Jason's walls. The more he listened, the more he found himself leaning in, eager to hear the stories stitched into every brushstroke of her life. "What's your favorite piece you've ever made?" he asked, genuinely curious. Lily's face lit up. "There's this mural I painted in a hospital. The kids there chose the colors and themes, and their little hands made the most beautiful chaos. It was a mess, but it brought a smile to their faces every time they saw it. That's what kept me going, knowing I brought a little light into their lives. As Jason absorbed her words, a deep, resonant ache filled his chest. He realized he wanted to be that kind of light in someone else's life again, especially in hers. The children around them squealed with laughter, diving once more into the intoxicating elixir of creativity. He smiled at the sheer joy they radiated, but then Tom's voice reached him again. "You really think that's enough to change the world?" His tone dripped with skepticism, shattering the blissful moment. Laughter recoiled as glances were shared among the parents and children. "Art won't cure cancer, you know," Tom sneered, and this time Jason felt the weight of his words pressing down on him. Without skipping a beat, Lily stepped forward. "No, it won't, but it can heal hearts in ways that medicine can't. Sometimes a painting can inspire hope when nothing else can." Her words, imbued with strength, caught Jason's breath. The way Lily faced adversity, even in the harshest moments, only deepened his admiration. As Tom's expression twisted into a scowl, Jason felt a surge of determination. He quietly resolved then and there that he wouldn't let Tom dim their light. "I think we can all do something, no matter how small," Jason chimed in, meeting Tom's gaze with defiance. "Even the smallest act of kindness has the power to change the course of someone else's life." Lily turned to Jason, surprise brightening her eyes. Their shared conviction forged a palpable bond, one that pushed away the darkness lurking around them, but as quickly as that connection sparked, Jason felt the creeping sensations of his past. The shadows of Sarah lingered. Could he genuinely move forward, embrace this feeling? Would it last? Amid the paint-covered chaos, the children continued to giggle, completely unaware of the intensity brewing in the air. Who would have thought that a paint session could unveil so much, yet shroud him in so many unaddressed emotions? As laughter filled his ears, Jason took a deep breath. Could he tear down the walls he built, let someone in again? The atmosphere shifted again, lighter, yet Jason's heart was heavy with decisions yet to be made. The paint splattered once more, and a little voice called out, "Jason. We need more colors." In that moment, he understood he wanted to be one of those colors in Lily's life, bright and vivid, not confined by the shadows of the past. With renewed determination, he faced Lily, ready to see where this winding road of paint and hope might take them. But still, lurking at the corners of his heart was the question. Could love really bloom again, or was he destined to remain bound by yesterday's mistakes? And as the children rallied once more, Jason's journey teetered on the edge of something beautiful, waiting to unfold. Would he find the courage to break free from what haunted him? The paint was alive on the canvas, a cacophony of colors blending beneath the laughter that surrounded them. Each vibrant stroke seemed to offer Jason a whisper of hope and possibility. He watched as children swept their brushes across their canvases with sheer delight, their enthusiasm igniting embers of creativity inside him. "Come on, Jason. Join us." A little girl yelled, splattering paint in a joyful arc. Her laughter echoed against the walls, yet his gaze was drawn back to Lily. She was lost in her own world, her brows slightly furrowed in concentration as she added more splashes to her canvas. There was beauty in her focus, something that felt almost sacred. "Yeah, Jason. Get messy," Lily called over, just as a paint-streaked hand landed on her cheek, making her laugh. The sound was infectious, reaching deep inside him. He stepped towards the easel, brushes lined up like soldiers, waiting. "Maybe I could give it a try," he said, his voice uncertain but slowly filled with anticipation. Jason picked up a brush, feeling the cool weight of it in his hand. He hesitated, glancing at Lily, who smiled encouragingly. As he dipped the brush into a bright blue, he thought of the mural she had recounted. What would it mean to add his color to this canvas of life? "Can I?" he asked, gesturing at her painting, wondering if he'd be some kind of interloper in her masterpiece. "I would love for you to. Just be free. Let it come out however it wants." Her eyes sparkled like sunlight on water, urging him forward. He pressed the bristles against the canvas, and for the first time in what felt like ages, he felt weight lift. Paint swirled and danced under his guidance. Broad strokes became a chaotic sky. "Look at it. It's beautiful." Lily laughed, clapping her hands as the colors blended. It wasn't perfect, but the joy it brought was undeniable. Just then, Tom's cynical voice broke through the vibrant atmosphere again. "Look at you two," he scoffed. "A couple of artists in a kiddie art show. This is pathetic." His words dripped with disdain, but Jason refused to let Tom's negativity shatter the moment. "Hey, Tom," Jason replied, his voice steady, "this is what life is about, finding joy in the little things. Not everything has to be a grand achievement." Lily's eyes widened, her admiration evident as she grinned at Jason's boldness. He felt a rush of warmth at their shared defiance against negativity. The paint-splattered children crowded around, giggling and chanting Jason's name, demanding he paint more, as if urging a hero to lead them. "All right. What do you want?" he asked, feeling the electricity in the air. "Paint a sun. A giant, happy sun." One boy shouted, his hands waving excitedly. He picked a bright yellow from the palette, smiling as he worked to create a warm circle, radiating like the promise of summer. There was something magical about losing himself to the creativity, the laughter, the colors, the connection he felt with Lily and the kids. It was a moment he yearned to elongate. As he stepped back to admire the makeshift sun outlined with bright colors, Jason felt a shift. His heart was lighter, infused with the pure joy surrounding him, but then, amidst that cheer, the shadow of his past crashed down again, whispering reminders not easily brushed aside. Had he just traded one form of chaos for another? Was he truly ready to open up, knowing how painfully close he had come to losing it all before? Lily caught his eye, grounding him momentarily with her unwavering gaze. "We're making magic here, Jason. Don't think about what might go wrong. Embrace this." Her voice, a balm for his anxious heart, steadied him. As the sun took shape, Jason couldn't help but think about how he had almost let Tom's words dim his light. Could this newfound joy grow, or would fear pull him back into the shadows once again? As laughter echoed off the walls, Jason felt the flicker of possibility, the magic of community and connection. But before he could dive deeper into that joy, a loud crash resounded through the room. The sound jolted through him, drawing the attention of everyone present. There was a collective gasp. What had happened? In that moment of chaos, Jason's breath hitched, uncertainty clawing at their joyful atmosphere. Would this be a test that could tear them apart, or would it bind them closer together? Jason spun around, heart racing as his mind scrambled to process the sudden disruption. The room, once alive with laughter and color, was now a tense silence, punctuated only by the whimpers of startled children. What was that? One of the kids cried, eyes wide, paintbrush quivering in his tiny grip. Tom smirked, clearly relishing the chaos. "Couldn't he handle a little fun, huh?" he jeered, but his bravado was overshadowed by Jason's panic. Lily rushed to Jason's side, the worry etched on her face contrasting starkly with the joy they had just created. "It sounded like something fell over," she exclaimed, glancing around the room to assess the scene of bafflement. Jason's stomach churned. He scanned the easel-laden floor littered with the vibrant hues, witnessing the devastation unfold. The vibrant inspiration they had just built was hanging by a thread. Then he saw it, a toppled shelf, paint tubes rolling away like colorful marbles, spreading out over the floor. Suddenly, the world shifted again, and in an instant marriage of colors and emotion, Jason felt an urge to act. "Let's clean this up," he shouted, his voice cutting through the overwhelming dread. "We can fix this. We can make it better." "Yeah." The kids rallied behind him, their earlier fear transformed into determination. They bolted towards the mess, their collective laughter a necessary force, one that pushed aside the dread lingering in the air. Jason joined them, heart pounding as he knelt to the ground, snatching up paint tubes with feigned confidence. The laughter, the momentary chaos, it was theirs to control. He caught a glimpse of Lily's smile as she too knelt, her spirit unbroken. Together, they began re-establishing what had been disrupted, their hands busy but their hearts full. "See, it's okay," Jason said, returning the tubes to the shelf, smiling at the children. "Sometimes things break, but we can always come together to fix it, just like our painting. Can I help you paint it back?" A little girl with paint-streaked cheeks asked, a flicker of excitement in her eyes. "Of course. We're going to make it even better," he replied, the tension easing from his shoulders. Maybe they could turn this back into a celebration. As each child located their tools, Jason's heart began to settle. Perhaps their creativity could outshine any obstacle, even if it meant working through the fear that had just overtaken them. On his knees, surrounded by these kids and Lily, he felt the weight of his past release its grip, if only for a moment. "Tom, grab that blue," Lily called, directing Tom to get his hands dirty despite his earlier cynicism. Tom snatched the tub, surprising everyone. For a fleeting second, doubt seemed to leave his expression. Perhaps he craved connection too, if only flickers of it. As they began, the mural unfurled back to life, giggles filling the air again. He saw glimmers of sunlight breaking through the clouds. Their shared laughter painted over the crash, and slowly, it became a beautiful chaos once more. But just when it seemed like the day could only get better, the door swung open, revealing a figure Jason hadn't expected to see. His breath caught in his throat as recognition flooded back. This was someone who had the power to change everything. "What are you doing here?" Jason blurted out, heart racing anew, filled with a sudden fear of having his past reintroduced into this fragile moment. With every person in the room frozen in anticipation, he wondered if this encounter would deliver hope or unravel everything they had just rebuilt. An irrepressible tension unfurled, thickening the air as the figure stepped further inside, the sunlight catching their face. Would this be an ending or the beginning of something unexpected? Jason's eyes widened, struggling to comprehend the sight before him. The figure at the door was a woman he never thought he'd see again. It felt like the ground had shifted under his feet. She was there, lighter than the whispers of memory, yet heavy with the potential to bring everything crashing down. "Ella," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The name sounded foreign on his tongue, yet it echoed with years of untold stories. She paused, her gaze sweeping over the room, absorbing the colorful chaos, the children, the laughter, the vibrant mural they were diligently reconstructing. But then her eyes landed on him. In that moment, he felt exposed, as if she could see all the cracks in him that he had worked so hard to hide. "Jason," she replied, a tremor betraying her calm demeanor. "I was in the neighborhood and thought Thought you'd just drop in." He interrupted, mouth dry, heart thumping, uncertain of whether to step forward or step away. The kids' laughter faded into an awkward silence, each child sensing the sudden shift. Jason could feel their wide eyes darting between him and Ella, curious but unaware of the emotional storm brewing in the grown-ups. "I didn't mean to disrupt, Ella started, but the rest of her words struggled to find a path out. With hesitance, she took a step towards him, wavering between familiarity and the uncertainty of the years gone by. Lily, sensing the tension, interjected. "Hi there. We're just making a mural. You should join us." Ella offered a tentative smile, though it didn't reach her eyes. "That sounds lovely." Jason watched as Ella knelt down, a paintbrush in hand, her gaze briefly locking with the little girl who had first asked to help. There was a softness about her that reminded him of days long gone, moments filled with joy and artistry, back before everything fell apart. "Do you want to paint the sky?" the girl asked, eyes shining. "Sure, I'd love that." Ella's voice was gentle, and Jason felt an unfamiliar tugging in his heart, a mixture of warmth and an aching nostalgia that he turned his focus back to the children. They filled the room with innocent chatter, laughter bubbling up as they tossed colors back and forth. It was a strange sanctuary, one that had just been put at risk and now welcomed a ghost of his past. But as Jason watched Ella find her footing, smiles blooming on her and the girls' faces, a flicker of uncertainty flared within him. Would this be an interlude that breathed life back into his spirit, or was it the start of a collision course with the memories he had long tried to escape? "Hey, Jason," Lily called, drawing him back into the moment. "Want to help us mix some colors?" Jason nodded and forced himself to approach the table where the kids were huddled around Ella, her laughter blending seamlessly with theirs. It felt right. Yet somewhere deep down, dread lurked. What would happen when the day ended? Would Ella stay, or would she be gone again? Just then, as the mural flourished under their hands, Jason couldn't help but wonder about what tomorrow might hold. Was this a new chance to rebuild or just another cycle of shattered dreams? He stole a glance at Ella, who was now laughing with the kids, and felt the weight of many unknowns resting heavily on his shoulders. There was a question in the air, a question that could redefine everything. Could he really allow her back in? Before he could answer himself, the phone in his back pocket buzzed, a sharp sound cutting through the laughter. The sudden noise made everyone jump, and Jason felt the heaviness return. Who could be calling now? Was it destiny or disaster lurking on the other end? The buzzing phone pulled Jason from the moment, shattering the fragile bubble he momentarily found with Ella and the kids. He glanced at the screen, a mix of annoyance and apprehension washing over him. The name flashed before him, familiar and unwanted: Michael, his old business partner. "Can you get that?" Ella said, unaware of the weight of that name, her focus still on the children swirling paint together with bright cheerful giggles. With a heavy heart, Jason silenced the phone and then took a step back from the group. He felt like he was teetering on the edge of a cliff, the abyss beckoning at the sound of Michael's voice. "Hey, I need to talk to you," Michael's voice crackled through the speaker. "It's urgent." He wanted to hang up. This day, this moment with Ella, felt so important. But obligation pulled him in. "What is going on?" "I need you back at the office." There's been a security issue, and Jason closed his eyes for a moment, suppressing a groan. "I'll be there soon," he said, though his heart was still tangled up here, surrounded by laughter and color. When he returned to the kids, he found Ella standing up, paint smudged on her cheek, while Lily leaned close with wide, innocent eyes, asking, "Can you help us paint a rainbow next?" Ella smiled, but the warmth in her smile mixed with something else: uncertainty. Jason couldn't shake the feeling that every second he spent away from the table felt like one step further from this elusive peace. "Of course," he replied, finding his place beside her once more. Together, they dipped brushes into vibrant colors, sharing glances filled with nostalgia and unvoiced questions. "Do you miss it?" Ella asked suddenly, her voice catching slightly amid the children's giggles. "Miss what?" Jason replied, even though he knew. Creating. She looked around as if trying to capture the essence of what they had lost together. The art. The joy. He swallowed hard. "Every day." "But I thought," Jason hesitated, recalling the promises he made to himself after their breakup, all lined with the intent to move on. But standing here now, the past, the longing, it surged back, refusing to let him forget. "Thought what?" She prodded gently, her eyes searching his face. "That it wasn't possible to feel this way again," he admitted quietly. Ella nodded, the weight of his words sinking into the air like paint on canvas. "We don't always get to choose what comes back into our lives," she said softly, glancing at the children. "Sometimes, it's a blessing, and sometimes it's a lesson." He wanted to assure her, to say that things could be different now that time had changed him, shaped him for the better, just as it had her. But as he opened his mouth to speak, the blast of a horn outside broke into their conversation, pulling them back into the world beyond their mural. "Look, a car!" Lily squealed, rushing to the window. Jason's heart dropped when he caught sight of the black sedan parked outside, his unease evident. "Can you stay a bit longer?" Ella's voice was soft, barely above a whisper, weighed down with unspoken fears that he turned to her, caught between the life he led and the one he might still have with her. I can't promise. I have to take this call." She nodded, understanding, but he could see the light behind her eyes flicker uncertainly. Jason felt a rush of regret as he stepped outside. The air was heavy with anticipation, it wasn't just Michael's call hanging, it was this possibility they could build something new, if only he could let go of the past. The question loomed again: was he ready to embrace change? What if this could bring them back together? Taking a deep breath, he approached the car, knowing that whatever awaited him could alter everything. His heart pounded, the answer still eluding him, just as the truth of what lay ahead pressed closer. As he opened the car door, one thought nagged at him: what if not addressing this meant losing both a future with Ella and his past? The interior of the car was dim, the leather seats worn in a way that made the space feel more like a confession booth than a vehicle. Michael sat behind the wheel, a familiar blend of urgency and impatience etched on his features. Jason had forgotten how much he disliked it. "Thanks for coming," Michael said, his voice clipped, eyes scanning the street as if danger might leap from the shadows. "I didn't want to come here, but we have a situation." Jason parked himself on the edge of the passenger seat, tension coiled in his gut. "Okay, spill it." "There's been a breach in our systems," Michael stated, a hint of stress creeping into his tone. "Sensitive data could be exposed. And you need to help contain it." The urgency suffocated him, but another part of him fought back. "That's why you called me?" "You know I've moved on, Michael." "I don't want to. I know. Michael interrupted. "But you're the best. Just this once, step in. Please." The pleading in his ex-partner's eyes tugged at something in Jason. He thought about Ella, the feel of the paintbrush, the laughter of the kids echoing softly in his mind. The thought settled like lead in his stomach. "I can't keep doing this, Michael. I can't chase after ghosts." Michael leaned in closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "Then you need to make a choice. If you don't help, everything could blow up, maybe even your new life." That stung. Jason glanced out the window, but he couldn't escape Michael's words. The weight felt heavier than ever. He pictured Ella and the kids, their carefree joy, as if the colors of the mural had splashed across his heart. But in stark contrast, the black sedan represented something dark, something that had consumed him before. "Fine," he said, his voice barely audible. "I'll help." "Thank you," Michael replied, relief flooding his eyes. "I knew you'd come through." As they drove toward the office, Jason's thoughts swirled like the colors on the canvas. He realized he was being pulled back into a world that had almost devoured him whole, a world that had cost him everything he had loved. But at that moment, he didn't feel trapped. Instead, a burgeoning resentment bloomed within him, a resolve to reclaim not just his career, but his life. The office building loomed ahead, stark against the sunny sky. Each window reflected their approach, and with every heartbeat, Jason could feel the tension building. He thought of Ella, her face painted with worry, and of the choices he was making that might jeopardize that warmth they had just shared. "Once we get in, we'll need to move quickly," Michael said, snapping him back to reality. "No time for distractions." But distractions were all Jason could think about. He needed to find a way to mend the disconnect between his former life and the life he was now yearning for. It was time to confront the choices he had made, the approach he had allowed to define him. When they reached the office, the chaos inside hit him like a wave, people flying past, phones ringing off the hook, panic laced through the air. But in the middle of it all, Jason steeled himself. He had once thrived in this environment, and he wanted to thrive again, not just as a worker, but as a man ready to define his own happiness. The moment he stepped through the doors, his phone buzzed in his pocket, a text flashing on the screen. It was from Ella, simple yet electrifying, "Waiting for you." But Jason's heart was heavy with the past. Could he balance the demands of his old life with the hope for a new future? Or would he lose both again in the fray? As he walked further into the buzzing chaos, one question echoed in his mind: could he find a way to keep his past in check without losing the bright possibilities of tomorrow? Jason's heart raced as the chaos around him engulfed his senses. The bustling office, crammed with people frantically answering phones and making calls, felt suffocating. Each ringing tone echoed his internal conflict, a cacophony of hope and despair. He stole a glance at the screen, the text from Ella tugged at his heart, "Waiting for you." With a deep breath, Jason pushed through the throng of bodies, determined to find a balance between his responsibilities and the fresh start he genuinely craved. He could still hear the laughter and colors of the community center, the joyful spirit of resilience that Lily and the kids had embodied. That was where his heart began to beat again, where possibilities flickered like fireflies in the dusk. "Jason!" Michael called, snapping him back. "We need to focus. Time is ticking." Nodding, Jason forced his mind to align with the urgency. They plunged into the problem at hand, combing through system details, devising a plan to rein in the security breach. Despite feeling the weight constantly pressing against his chest, Jason fought through it. With each decision made, he felt a little more aware of the choices before him, choices that extended far beyond the office walls. "Just think of the ramifications," Michael droned, and in the suffocating rush, it all melded into a blur. Yet, the memory of the mural, the laughter and camaraderie kept surfacing, urging him to remember what felt alive within him. "Jason, stay focused." Michael's voice cut sharply through his thoughts. "Right," he muttered, shaking off the distraction. Yet, every minute that passed dug deeper into Jason's mind. Ella, the unfulfilled promise of tomorrow, and the warmth of Lily's bright spirit clashed against the impulse to retain his old life. Something had to give, but finally, after hours stretched into what felt like an eternity, they emerged from the chaos with a plan in place. But as Jason stepped outside, he felt the weight return, heavier than before. The sun was starting to set, hues of orange and purple dancing across the sky. It reminded him of how colors blend beautifully, each telling its own story, creating a whole that was spectacular in its complexity. "Ella," he murmured, staring at his phone. The screen lit up with her text again, and suddenly, everything came rushing back. The laughter of the children, sharing paint with Lily, the way hope began to leak back into his heart. With resolve, he rushed back to the community center, his pulse quickening with every step. He arrived just in time to see Lily and the kids putting the finishing touches on their collaborative mural. The sight jolted energy back into his weary spirit, laughter, brightness, and a sense of purpose wrapped around him like an embrace. "Jason! You made it back." Lily beamed, paint splattered on her cheeks, a vision of unfettered joy. "It looks incredible," Jason gasped, stepping closer to the canvas, catching the vibrant colors swirling together, dynamics rising afresh from the chaos. Ella turned to him, her eyes sparkling in the soft light from the setting sun. "I figured you'd come back." A moment of tension lingered in the air, but his old fears felt smaller under the glow of their transformed reality. "Yeah, I have some things I need to say." Lily sensed the shift and took a step back, leaving Jason to face Ella. The words tumbled from his mouth, battered yet earnest. "I've been so lost trying to find a way to move forward. But I realize now that I don't have to choose past over future. I can let both coexist. If you still want to be a part of my life, I would like that." Ella tilted her head, surprise flitting across her features. "Are you sure?" "Because it's been a while, Jason, and my heart is still a little bruised," he admitted, "but I don't want to keep living in memories. I want to build something new, a mural of our own with every color we gather, if you'll have me." His openness sank in, a breathlessness filled the air around them. "I want that too," she breathed, suddenly vulnerable yet strong. "But we need to navigate this together." Jason felt the weight lift, yet a new question bubbled up. "And what about you and Michael?" "I'm no longer bound to the past," she said firmly. "It's been a lesson in learning what really matters." Just like each beautiful hue on the canvas, they were remnants of things lost and potential yet to reach fruition. He nodded, feeling connected to something greater than himself. As the night descended, they stood close, colors smudged on their hands, laughter echoing from the delighted tones of children, who had now gathered paint supplies for a final round of excitement. "Together," he said, and she smiled wide, two separate lines blending into an inspiring tapestry of hope. With each brushstroke added to the mural, Jason knew a shift had occurred. Not just in art but in heart. The decision had been made, he was ready to embrace this new life without the fetters of the past holding him back. "Alright, let us finish this mural," he proclaimed, stepping towards the canvas, where vibrant colors awaited eager hands. Ella joined him, laughter spilling forth as they splashed paint together. It all felt right again, the joy, the hope, the community, and, most importantly, the connection. They weren't merely recreating memories, they were laying the foundations of tomorrow, each flash of color a promise of love, acceptance, and brighter days ahead, and just like that, amidst swirls of color and laughter, Jason saw not only the hues of the past but every brilliant possibility that life still had to offer. So, remember, the journey continues beyond what we can see. If this story inspired you, you need to subscribe now. Hit that bell for notifications so you won't miss out on our incredible journey ahead. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and keep us thriving. Tell us how you feel about this ending in the comments below. Share your emotions, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with 5 friends who need to feel this transformation. Spread the love and connection. Let's build a community together.